Welcome back, friends. Today we are going to study about the design of helical gear. Right? Introduction part of the gear, design of gear, types of gear, classification of gear, and terminology of gear. Terminology which is used in the design of gear, as already studied or already discussed in our previous lectures. Now today we are going to study about the helical gear design, the considerations or the conditions which are taking in the design of helical gear. So first, we are going to study about the helical gears. In helical gears, the two meshing gears may be mounted on a parallel or intersecting shafts. The teeth of helical gears are cut at an angle of helix angle, right? So the angle, the teeth on the wheel, right, gear wheel, teeth which are available on the gear wheel are not the parallel of the axis of the gear, but it is at an angle, and the angle of the teeth is called as the helix angle, and helix angle usually range between 15 degree to 30 degree, right? So the helix angle usually ranges between the 15 degree to 30 degree. Now hel- the teeth which are available on the gear wheel are at on the angle, right? It is not parallel to the axis of the gear wheel. So we are not going to use the helical gears where the more torque is required, right? If the more torque is required, so we have to use the spur gear in which the teeth are arranged as parallel to the axis of the gear wheel, right? Means in this per gear, due to the arrangement of that kind of teeth, the torque which is generated is more than the helical gear. But due to the more torque required, the noise generation in this per gear is also increased. But here in the helical gears, the operation is going to smooth and less noisy compared to the spur gear. Now, the gears are merely helical gears with a zero helix angle, right? So, if the helix angle is going to be zero, then it's not called as a helical gear, but it's a spur gear. So, the gears are rarely available, or you can say it's a rarely you can uh, find in which the helix angle is going to be zero. Spur gear are merely helical gears with a zero helix angle, right? As per I told you, if the helix angle is going to be zero in the helical gears, so it's same as the spur gears, right? Now the helix angle. The helix angle of the gears is generally selected from the range 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, and 30 degree. The larger the angle of the smoother the motion and the higher speed possible. However, the thrust loading on the supporting bearing also increases, right? So, if we are going to increase the helix angle, if we are going to use the large helix angle, then the operation is going to be smoother and the high speed possible, as we discussed previous or already discussed that due to the helix angle, the noise generation is less as compared to the spur gear. Also the torque is going to be decreased, right? Torque is decreased. So if the torque is decreased, then the speed is going to be increase of the sub of the gear, right? But due to the helix angle, due to the helix angle, the thrust load is going to be increased for the supporting bearing. On the supporting bearing, the thrust load is going to be increased due to the high speed and high high rotational speed. Now, the classification of the helical gears. The classification of the helical gears as parallel helical gears, crossed helical gears, and herringbone gears. All the helical gears generate thrust load on the shaft because of inclined teeth hinge. This must be taken care while designing the machine, right? Due to the inclined teeth, there will be thrust load generated on the bearings, also the supported shaft, right? Why? Because the thrust load which is generated on the teeth are directly transferred to the shaft due to the inclined teeth. Now, thrust load is the parallel to the shaft of the gear. It is produced by helical gear because the helix angle, not the pressure angle. It is not produced by spur gears which have the straight teeth that are parallel to the shaft axis, right? As per discussed, the thrust load is load parallel to the shaft of the gear. It is produced by the helical gears because of helix angle. Why? Because of the helix angle, the load which is generated on this gear is directly transferred to the shaft, right? So the thrust load is generated to the or thrust load is uh, produced on the shaft. But here the thrust load is not going to be produced on this spur gear. Why? Because there is a pressure angle, not the helix angle. So, right? There is pressure angle due to the straight teeth that the parallel to the shaft axis. So there is no helix angle. So the no thrust load is generated on the spur gear. Radial load. Radial load is the load that tends to separate the gears. It acts perpendicular to the shaft. This is what is produced by the pressure angle, but both spur gears and helical gears produce this kind of load, right? Now, the thrust load is produced due to the helix angle, and radial load is produced due to the pressure angle. But in this spur gear, there is no helix angle, so the thrust load is not going to be produced on this spur gear, but the pressure angle is available for in the helical gear as well as spur gear. So the radial load is generated in, generated on both types of gear. Now gears refer to when the shafts are parallel to each other. Note that mating helical gears must have the same helix angle but the opposite hand, right? Means if if two different kind of helical and gears which are matting, two different kind of helical gears which are matting must have the same helix angle of the teeth. Either otherwise otherwise there is there are no parallels with each gear wheel, right? Means the two gear wheels are not going to be parallel if the helix angle of the both teeth are going to be different, right? So if we have to parallel gear wheel or parallel shaft, then the helix angle of the gears which are used must have the same but the opposite in hand. The gears, the shafts are non-parallel, and in this configuration, the gears are sometimes known as a skew gears, right? This is the helical gears in which the shafts are not going to be parallel. This gear in this helical gear, where the shaft is not going to be parallel, so it's called as a non-parallel shafts. Also, sometimes it known as the skew gears, right? Double helical gears overcome the problem of the axial thrust presented by single helical gears by using two sets of teeth that are set in a V shape. This arrangement cancels out the net axial thrust since each half of the gear thrust in the opposite direction, resulting in a net axial force of zero. However, double helical gears are more difficult to manufacture due to their more complicated shape. Right? To avoid the axial thrust, two helical gears of the opposite hand can be mounted side by side to cancel resulting thrust forces. Right? So here, herringbone gears are mostly used on heavy machinery. So to avoid the axial thrust load, we are going to mounted two different kind of helical gears having same helix angle having same helix angle, but the different or opposite direction side by side. Then we can cancel the resulting thrust force, and this generation of new helical gears is called as the herringbone gears. And the herringbone gears are mostly used on the heavy machinery where the more axial thrust load is generated. Now left and right hand gear. In the helical gear, which are connected between each other, and both the helical gears are connected with the spur gears, then the left side of the gears after the spur gear there are two helical gears are available, which the left side of the helical gears is called as the left hand helical gears, and right side of the helical gears is called as the right hand side helical gear. Right? So the advantages of the helical gears are the angle teeth engage more gradually than do spur gear teeth, causing them to run more smoothly and quietly. Helical gears are highly durable and are ideal for the high load applications. Right? Helical gears can be used on non-parallel and even perpendicular shafts and can carry higher loads than can spur gears. At any given time, their load is distributed over several teeth, resulting in less wear. Now, see, in the helical gears, the teeth are arranged in the helix angle, right? So, due to the angle teeth engage more gradually than do spur gear teeth, causing them to run more smoothly and quietly, right? So, after engaging the teeth, or you can say the after the matting the different teeth to disengage gradually, there are not more load is required, so the operation is going to be smoothly, or you can say them to run more smoothly and quietly. The helical gears are highly durable and are ideal for the high load applications. Right? Helical gears can be used on non-parallel and even perpendicular shafts and carry higher loads than the spur gears. The teeth arrangement on the spur gears are parallel to the shaft axis, so it must be needed that the two shafts are must be parallel to connect the spur gears. Right? So if the two shafts are not going to be arranged in the parallel, the two shafts are not going to be arranged in parallel, then we cannot be use the spur gear. But in the in the helical gears, it is not necessary to arrange the parallel to the two different kind of shafts. Right? At any given time, their load is distributed over several teeth, resulting in less wear. Due to the helix angle, or due to the teeth are arranged in the angular, the load which is generated, or you can say the load axial load or thrust load which is generated is distributed over several teeth. So due to the less load is generated, the wear which is generated is less. One of the disadvantages of these gears is the thrust which results along the gear axis, which needs to be accommodated by using adequate thrust bearing. Right? Due to the helix angle, or due to the teeth which are arranging the helix angle, the thrust load is going to be generated. Thrust load is going to be generated on the supported bearings or on the shafts. So we have to accommodate that thrust load with the using the adequate thrust bearing. If we are not going to use the thrust bearing, then the design is going to be fail after some times due to the continuous or a periodic thrust load is generated on the shaft. There is a greater degree of sliding friction between the teeth. This produces greater wear during operation and the need of lubrication system. Due to the helix angle, the contact or mashing of the teeth or contact of the teeth is going to be sliding contact. So due to the sliding contact, there are more wear is produced, and due to this, the lubrication system is required during the operation. The helical gear efficiency is lower due to the contact between its teeth, right, which produce the axial thrust and generates heat. A greater loss of energy reduces the efficiency. Due to the helix angle, the axial thrust load is generated, and due to the axial thrust load, and also due to the sliding friction, due to the sliding contact, due with the teeth on the gear wheel, the more heat is generated, and a greater loss of energy which reduce the efficiency of the helical gear, which results the helical gear efficiency is lower, right. The higher manufacturing cost than spur gears, which is also a drawbacks of the helical gear, right. Now the efficiency of spur gear and helical gears compared. So efficiency of spur gear is going to be greater than of the efficiency of helical gear, right? This is the answer of the question. Now the efficiency. Spur gears are the gears in which the teeth are parallel to the gear axis, whereas in the helical gears the teeth are non-parallel to the gear axis and its are arranged as at the angle of helix angle, right? Because of this arrangement of the teeth in the helical gear, they have sliding contact between the teeth, as per we discussed. Due to the sliding contact between the teeth of the helical gear, axial thrust of the gear shaft also produce more heat. Thus, the efficiency of helical gear is less than the spur gear, right? As we discussed, due to the sliding contact between the teeth of the helical gear, also due to the axial thrust which is generated due to the helix angle, the more heat is going to be produced and more power loss is going to be done. So thus the efficiency of the helical gear is going to be less than the of the spur gear. Now the strength of the helical gear for the same tooth size, or you can say the for the same module and equivalent width, the helical gears can handle more load than spur gears, because the helical gear tooth is effectively larger since it diagonally positions, right? As we discussed that due to the helix angle, the helical teeth are going to be arranged in the angle. Now, due to this, the contact between two teeth is sliding, right? So the sliding contact, due to the sliding contact, there the more area is going to be available for the load transfer, right? So the load is going to be distributed over the various area. So, so for the same module and equivalent width, the helical gears can handle more load, or you can say the helical gear tooth is effectively larger since its diagonal positions. So the helical gears can handle more load than the spur gears, right? The difference between the spur gears and helical gears. Teeth are cut parallel to the axis of the shaft for the spur gear, whereas the teeth are form of the helix angle on the pitch cylinder between meshing gear. Contact between meshing teeth occurs along the entire face width of the tooth, whereas the contact between meshing gears begins with a point on the leading edge of the tooth and gradually extends along the diagonal line across the tooth. Load application is sudden resulting into impact conditions and generating noise in high speed applications, whereas in the helical gears, pickup of the load by the tooth is gradual, resulting in smooth engagement and quiet operation even at high speeds. For the spur gear, used for the parallel shafts only, whereas cross helical gears are also used on the shafts with cross axis. Speed is limited to about 20 meter per second in the spur gear, used in automobile, turbine, and high-speed applications up to 50 meter per second. Spur gear impose the radial load only, where the helical gears impose radial and axial thrust load. Spur gears contact ratio is low, where the helical contact ratio is high. This all the parameters, all the points are already discussed in our with previous theory. So the types of the helical gear, the importance of the helix angle, what is the advantages of the helical gear, or what is the disadvantages of the helical gear, difference of the spur gear and helical gears, the uses and the applications of the helical gears are being studied.